Mindanao, dubbed as the land of promises. Its distinct beauty lies in the rich natural resources and in the diverse culture of its people. But behind all these, peace remains elusive for the people of Mindanao. Since time immemorial, the Moros have strongly resisted the incursions of foreign powers. While the Moros are better known as fierce warriors, they are in fact a people with a rich economic and political history. As early as the 15th century, the Moros were sovereign people with their own system of commerce and government. The Moros' political life revolved around the Sultanate of Sulu, the Sultanate of Maguindanao, and also the Pat Apangampong. The Sulu Sultanate ruled over the present-day provinces of Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, Palawan, Basilan, and even North Borneo. While the Sultanate of Maguindanao, under the leadership of Sultan Kudarat, exercised control over South Cotabato, Sarangani, parts of Lanao provinces, Maguindanao, Davao del Sur, Davao Oriental, the coastal areas of Sultan Kudarat province, South Cotabato, and Zamboanga del Sur. On the other hand, Pat Apangampong led the portions of Lanao del Sur, Lanao del Norte, parts of Bukidnon, Agusan, and some areas of Misamis provinces. Historically and quite clearly, the Moros controlled most of Mindanao. How then were the Moros reduced to a minority in their homeland?
It's just that due to the twist of history, these sultanates were dissolved as a result of continuous colonial incursion. Dahil nag-umpisa yan when Spain and later on the United States adopted what we refer to as the Regalian Doctrine. Itong Regalian Doctrine, ito yung parang sistema ng pagsakop at pag-ari ng Spain at ng later on ng the United States ng Pilipinas at saka yung mga teritoryo nito. Walang konsepto noon ng land registration. Basta alam nila, doon na sila pinanganak, yun ang lugar ng kanilang mga ninuno. Yun ang konsepto nila ng kanilang mga lupa. At saka dahil sa communal, yung land system sa Mindanao nung araw, madaling na kuha at nasakop at mabigyan ng titulo na i-distribute sa iba't ibang malaking pamilya yung mga lupa ito.
And here lies the root of the ancestral domain problem. Based in history, the Bangsamoro people have a legitimate claim over their ancestral homeland. In protecting their ancestral home, the Moros had to contend not only with the foreign colonizers, but also with the local settlers brought in by government's policies that encouraged the building of settlements in Moro territories. These policies also granted generous concessions to corporations to exploit Moro ancestral lands.
Traditionally, the whole of Mindanao and the islands of Basilan, Sulu, and Palawan constitute the Bangsamoro homeland. After the incorporation of these territories to the Republic of the Philippines, the Bangsamoro people became minorities demographically, and the territory they now occupy was significantly reduced.
In the most recent census released by the National Statistics Office, only 20.44% of the total population in Mindanao were Muslims. Although there was no definite figure on Muslim land ownership, it could be assumed based on the census that compared to other residents, the Muslim landowners would have a lower percentage as well. However, it is important to note that this problem in Mindanao is not religious in nature.
If you ask the MILF, is this conflict a religious conflict? They'll say no, it's not a conflict between Christians and Muslims. It's a conflict between, Moros and the settlers. Okay, the Moros had, their own system of governance. They had thriving economic and political infrastructures before the settlers came, and that started the whole problem. It just so happened that the settlers are Christians.
Hence, the Muslim leaders and the government of the Philippines, GRP, have been trying to resolve the conflict through peace talks and other negotiations. Both parties have determined some major areas of conflict.
Ancestral domain is the third and final issue that is being negotiated between the Philippine government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front prior to a political settlement. When the peace talks between these two parties started, they had 3 items on the agenda: security, rehabilitation, and ancestral domain. Interim agreements have been reached on the first 2 issues, but ancestral domain still hasn't been resolved.
Under the Tripoli Agreement signed in December 1976 between MNLF Chair Nur Miswari and the GRP, 13 provinces and their component cities and villages in the southern Philippines were declared as areas of autonomy for the Muslims. It took almost 2 decades before the GRP and the MNLF agreed on the mechanism to implement the 1976 Tripoli Agreement. In September 1996, the GRP and the MNLF signed the Jakarta Final Peace Agreement, which established the Special Zone for Peace and Development, or SZOPAD, covering the territories under the Tripoli Agreement. The agreement also called for massive development efforts within the SZOPAD. After the conduct of plebiscites, the areas of autonomy for the Moros shrank from the original 13 provinces and component cities to 10 under President Marcos, 4 under President Aquino, and now 5 provinces and a city, constituting the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or the ARMM. For the MILF, these agreements and the way by which they were implemented failed to address the fundamental grievances of the Moros. For them, the resolution of the Moro ancestral domain claims is the foundation of any negotiated settlement with the GRP.
And ancestral domain as a concept refers primarily to 3 things. 1 is territory or land, 2nd is governance, and 3rd is economic resources.
Though we cannot undo history, the question of territory is still a very important yet complex issue.
The MILF has already declared in many pronouncements in the media that they are willing to settle for territories which are now dominated by the Moros. So meaning while they claim that part of like Palawan and a big part of Mindanao, these areas are part of their